Joined by Michael Wilbon. He is featured prominently in The Last Dance, our 10-hour documentary chronicling Michael Jordan's final season with those championship squads in Chicago with the Bulls. So now you're a big superstar, Michael. I imagine you are one of the fancy folks who had the opportunity to watch all 10 parts already. What did you think of it?
I don't know about fancy. I'm an employee, and so I received it. It's on my laptop, and I haven't watched a second of it yet.
Wait, you haven't? You didn't look at it?
No, and I'm not going to, and I'm going to watch this in real time. I can't say live. It's not an event. Actually, it is. But in real time with my 12-year-old. And even he said, Dad, it's on your laptop. Can't we watch it now? Like yesterday. No. We're going to sit down with some popcorn on Sunday night, and we're going to watch this. You know, I'm a person who still goes to the movies, Steve. I don't want to, see it on a laptop, on a handheld device. I want to watch this, on a flat screen tomorrow and enjoy it like most people are. And I'm glad. I'm taking some pride in the fact that I didn't need the sneak preview, if you will.
I understand. Take us back to '98. I'm sure you were courtside for all that action. What was it like to be around Michael Jordan and the Bulls in that last season?
Well, people often say, oh, it must have been like being around a rock star. I don't know that any rock star was as big by then as Michael. And even 96, 97, and the hysteria around the team on a regular basis. I'll tell you about something leading up to being at courtside. I'm flying to Chicago for a game, either in the first or second series that year, and I'm sitting next to a nun. And I am a product of St. Ignatius College Prep in Chicago. We have a nice conversation. And when she starts writing, she said, excuse me for a second, and she asked where I was going and why I was going to Chicago, and I told her, as a sports writer for the Washington Post, I'm covering Michael Jordan and the Bulls in the playoffs, and she starts writing. And she writes a letter, and she puts it in an envelope, and she seals it, and she puts his name on it, and she looks at me and she says, I need you to give this to him tonight when you see him.
Oh, sure.
And I'm like, yeah, what am I going to say to a nun? I want to say no.
Yes, ma'am.
And I've never done this. I'm a sports writer. I don't ask for autographs. You don't ask for favors. This is very strict. But I'm not saying no to her. So I get off the plane. Yes, ma'am. I go to the United Center, and I did something I've never done. I went up to Michael, and I'm sure I had the sheepish look on my face, and I said, I'm sorry. I've never asked you for anything personal. I have to give you this. He said, well, what is it? And I said, it's a letter from a nun. And he said, this is so absurd. I know you're not making this up. And I said, no, I'm not making it up. And so I did it. I never asked him if he read it. I never asked him what it said. I just handed it to him, and I left.
Hang on. You never looked at the note before you gave it to Mike?
No. Never looked at it. I didn't even ask him what it said. I'm sure I'm going to ask him when I talk to him again, whenever that is, if he remembers. He can't remember because this happened thousands of times to him, not nuns or priests or anybody in a religious order, Steve, but all the time, people wanted to get at him. And here's something. Can you look at it? Can you do this? It happened to him, I'm sure, a dozen times a day. It happened to me once, and I'll never forget it.
You're a better man than I. I think I would have taken a sneak peek. Michael, I'm always asked, what's the loudest arena stadium I've ever been in? I always say Chicago Stadium, early 90s. Knicks Bulls was unbelievable. How about the United Center in that second real run for the Bulls compared to the old building? Did it have that same feel and buzz to you?
It wasn't quite the same. It was too much space. But it was still the loudest place. Steve, it was the loudest place. I mean, I've seen grown people, grown men and women who had not been in that kind of noise before. When the introductions were going on, and from North Carolina, you never heard them announce Michael's name because it was too loud. And you see people literally sort of unnerved by this, like, oh, my God, I've never heard a wall of noise like this. And I don't know that I've heard one since. And I've been all over the league forever, for 40 years or close to it. And there's no sound like it. I remember our colleague David Aldridge at one point, the last game, what he thought was the last game of The Last Dance in Chicago, he took a tape recorder. I don't know if he still has it. And he just recorded the introduction of Michael Jordan, the introduction, so he could preserve that. And I thought then it was really smart, and I wonder if he still has it.
All right, Michael, be careful with that cactus behind you. Don't prick your finger on that. It looks very painful.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.